Greetings and welcome to the Dare to Create show with Mitzi Linton. We're here at the second annual Thanksliving Festival, and our guest right now is the wonderful Jean Baur, who is the co-founder and president of Farm Sanctuary. Welcome, Jean.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
And so tell us a little bit about Farm Sanctuary. I know that you followed your passions and your dreams and goals to set up Farm Sanctuary. What is Farm Sanctuary?
Well, Farm Sanctuary is an organization that works to prevent the inhumane treatment of animals on farms. We investigate facilities and we rescue animals too. We've literally found living animals in trash cans or on piles of dead animals. So once we've came across these animals, we couldn't leave them there. So we now have two farms, one in Watkins Glen, New York, and one in Orland, California. And we also campaign to change conditions, because what happens to animals on farms today is horrible. Very much inspired also when I see people who are touched by the animals and decide to make a change, whose lives are improved and in many cases even transformed. So I'm moved and inspired by transformation, which happens constantly.
And it sometimes can happen slowly. And one thing I love that you said in the talk that you gave here was about really encouraging people to be patient and to be compassionate and understanding with other people who are going through that transformation too, who may have decided, okay, I'm eliminating meat from my diet. Maybe I used to eat it every day, but I'm going now to have it 5 times a week. What can you say to encourage people along those paths?
No, I think that's right. We have to be patient and allow people to make changes over time, because change does take time. And each time somebody makes a positive decision, and that could be something as small as deciding not to eat veal, or to becoming a vegan, I support and encourage that sort of movement. So just taking heart from any small change that exists, and I think by doing that we create more positive change.
And we create an environment not only of being activists and being actively out there, but also an environment of understanding, compassion, and love. So, Jean, you're holding up a book here which is about which says Farm Sanctuary. Tell us about the book and how that came to be.
Well, for many years people have said that I should write a book, and finally a few years ago I decided, yes, okay, I'll do that. And it was time where I could put, the story of Farm Sanctuary on paper and tell how the organization started and talk about the conditions that I observed by going into these factory farms, talk about some of the animals that we've been able to rescue and the lives they live, and just put it out there so people have it in one place. And so the book has done pretty well. It's been on a couple of bestseller lists, and it came out in paperback shortly after it was published, and so encourage people to get the book, Farm Sanctuary.
And they can get it on your website or on Amazon.com?
That's right.
Excellent. So if there was one thing that you were to encourage people to dare to create a life they love in a world they desire to live in, what would be something that you could say to inspire people to follow their dreams and passions?
I think people need to do what they think is right and what feels right to them, and not to be persuaded to do something that they don't feel right about. I think so often people are expected to act a certain way or to get a certain kind of job or to eat a certain way, even if they don't feel right about it, but they still go ahead and do it because they're supposed to or they think they're supposed to. So I encourage people, if they don't feel right about something, to step back and to really examine and ultimately do what they think is right. Because I think so many of the world's problems are based on people denying kind of their own feelings and their own intuition and doing what they're told to do. And then after they start doing a certain thing that may be harmful, and it could be a job they don't like or a job that they feel is unethical, then they start trying to validate it and rationalize it. And I think there's so much of that where people are behaving in a way that they don't feel good about, but they don't want to acknowledge it and confront it, so then they start rationalizing it and pushing down those feelings, and that's how bad becomes normal and becomes normalized and rationalized.
So what I'm hearing is hold fast to your dreams, your values, and your joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if something feels wrong, you should listen to that.
Yeah.
And so often people are doing things that feel wrong, and then they're in this kind of strange place of having they feel they have to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more you feel you have to keep doing it and have to keep defending it. So you hold fast to your dreams, to your values, and to your joy, absolutely.
And that's what you've done. Thank you so much, Gene Baur, for being on the Dare to Create show. Founder, co-founder, president of Farm Sanctuary.